Okay, my friends, another shocker du jour. I've been showing what the moon is literally made out of. I know the chemistry that they will find. And Musk just had his blue ghost landing on the moon. They're talking about a terrifying moon discovery. They say they're pushing the boundaries of space travel. Musk's reaction to
the discovery was as swift as it was intense. Social media lit up with his posts, and his tone was far more cautious than his usual optimism. According to early reports, Blue Ghost, which was on a mission to deliver NASA payloads under the CLPS program, began transmitting data that hinted at an unusual anomaly on the lunar surface. The signals suggested irregular terrain features or unexpected energy readings, details that defied conventional explanations. For Musk, who has built his career on carefully calculated risks with projects like Starship and Falcon series, this unexpected twist was not just surprising.
Obviously, this is not people on the moon here. I don't know what they're trying to show here, but
it was a red flag for potential complications in future lunar missions. Elon's reaction was immediate. In a series of tweets, he expressed worry that this new information could point to deeper, previously unrecognized challenges with our understanding of the moon. It's one
all right, well, that's for sure.
Thing to plan for known risks, he wrote, but when the moon shows us a hidden, eerie side, we have to rethink everything.
He's right. We do have to rethink everything. Thank you, Elon. I agree with you 100%.
Posts encourage dialogue on the need for even more thorough testing and data verification in upcoming missions, both from his own companies and from industry partners. The buzz around Musk's reaction also sparked debates among space enthusiasts. Some supporters agree that caution is essential whenever we encounter the unknown.
All right, well, what is the unknown that they encountered? All right, this came in this morning on Voyager Channel, and this is about Elon Musk and what they found on the moon. They just landed up there a few days ago.
Most powerful rocket ever developed, called Starship, being built by Elon Musk.
Elon Musk is reeling after the latest discovery by Firefly's Blue Ghost lander. The small, daring spacecraft uncovered strange and eerie signs beneath the moon's surface that have set off alarm bells in the space world.
You have to stay grounded in the short term because there's a great holy grail potential in the future.
Musk himself is panicking as wild rumors spread about a secret that could change our view of lunar history forever.
All right. Prepare for what?
Prepare for shocking revelations as we...
All right, let's prepare. I think I have other revelations that are more shocking than this. From what I've seen out of this, they still do not understand the moon. All right, they expected the moon just to be sort of inert, just the same temperature everywhere, so forth. Here's what they say now. Unexpected alarm.
Commercial Lunar Payload Services program, this private mission has been sending back regular progress reports. However, its latest data shows unusual sensor readings that do not match the well-known characteristics of the moon. These surprising measurements have sparked widespread concern among scientists and engineers about what mysteries the lunar surface might be hiding. During routine system checks, several onboard instruments recorded odd variations in both gravitational pull and temperature. Instead of the stable values expected from the moon's regolith, the sensors detected sudden fluctuations that suggest hidden geological features beneath the surface. Some experts believe this could point to the presence of unusual rock formations, unexpected voids, or pockets.
Look at this heart spur.
of heat that may be linked to subsurface materials.
Now, when they say variations, are they talking about variations happening daily in a certain area, or are they talking about this has a certain temperature and that has a certain temperature?
Others worry that these anomalies could indicate potential hazards for future crewed missions. The mission team at Firefly Aerospace is examining every bit of data carefully. They note that while minor irregularities have occurred during earlier tests, Nothing like this has been seen before. The current findings are substantial enough to prompt engineers to consider new models of the lunar crust.
All right, let's take a look at the lunar crust, and let's take a look at the moon from its magnetic values and its energy values. I can show you that. Okay, so they're saying about freaking out about energy sources on the moon. These are energy sources, and these are very strange looking. If you look at this, what is going on there? The heck is that? And these are fields. All rotating bodies in space appear to have a field surrounding, a magnetic field, and on its axis is where it spins. And it's literally scrubbing through space and causing this vibration, which is the magnetic fields. And this was taken by a guy, Dylan Carpenter, and I apparently doesn't want to be involved in this. I haven't been able to get through to him. And he just sent me a couple of pictures, and I was blown away. And this is energy. Anytime you see that glow, that means there's energy. And I can prove this to you, and I will in a second. And this blue, I understand that as well, as the moon appears to be going in this direction, pushing, crushing the light, causing the compression down to blue, instead of shifting away, causing this red shift to go down to the red. It's going this way, causing a blue shift. Now, all of these are fields, and everything's a dipole. You see the black and white, all these dipoles? That's dipole electron flood theory. And there is no question these are fields, and there is no question these are energy. And I'll show you energy, how it glows. And energy is everywhere. However, dark matter is everywhere as well. The only thing there is that makes anything that has substance is the dark matter. Dark matter is gravity, and it's the source of every solid thing there is, basically. And the energy just wraps around the dark matter. The dark matter attracts it, and here's what the dipole electron flood theory is. This is the dark matter. And I'll show you this actually from light, which is basically one of the most elementary particles there is. Only thing smaller than that is the black and the white particles. And the closest to the center core is the tighter, that's the blue. It's got real tight energy. And if you snap that away, it takes off and never comes back, because you got to really rip that baby. The green goes, same thing. It goes and rarely will it come back. The red bounces out, because it's not really held all that tight. And these are the only two particles that exist. And here's how they form. This is heat. They call it gluon. I agree with that. It's the positive, dark matter. But this is dark matter. And that is energy. And they glue together. Now, the energy comes in different flavors, different colors, which is different energy levels. That's all it is. But white, let's just go with white, is the energetic part, but it can be any of those colors. Those are what they're called flavors. Now, this is two gluons together, this is a dipole electron. They always thought it was just that right there, a little glowy thing that had energy. But no, it's attached to matter. And that's the only thing that has any real basis to it, is the dark matter. And we are made of dark matter attached to the white matter. But the white matter always surrounds everything. So if you have a complete molecule or an atom, it's always totally encrusted, just like this, with white particles. So this would be all around the whole thing. Right, green, red, blue, whatever. It depends on what type of atom it is and what color it bounces back at you with. But it will always bounce back, because there's nothing more. You're never going to see that black. It's inside. It's like if I took this right here. Every one of these is a magnet, which they are. And they would all be negative around here. And they would be those little glowy parts. But way inside, the dark matter would be in there, but you're never going to see it, because it's always going to bounce back at something. The only way we could see it was to do the light experiments, where it ended up showing up on top. Watch this. This is from CERN, CERN, Fermilab, same. This is actually from Fermilab. Don Lincoln put this out on the internet. And he said that this is the smallest particle they could find, this black one with a glowy edge around it, and then this glowy one that had no mass, that had all the mass, this just had all the energy. It was a big bubble. It could go small, it could go big. And that's true. We did it right here. Here's when it's bigger, here's when it's smaller. Same particle. There's the black one with the glowy edge around it, same thing. And here's what it looks like if you don't add the color to it, which is, this is really the true color of it. It was red from a red laser. And this is just a black and white showing. But these are the particles they saw. They never knew they're glued together. They just see them in their pile of debris, because when they hit something like this and they get all kinds of stuff. When we hit something like this, and also all we see is just the tiniest little particles. Then we were able to put that through a Venturi right here, which accelerated it. And when it hit the Venturi, it exploded. That is a subatomic nuclear explosion. It's exactly what it is. The particle has pulled itself out of its wave because it accelerates, not supposed to do that, exploded here, created electron showers, extreme amounts of energy, and black muons, sterile. Here they are right here. Muon neutrino, electron neutrino. Attached together is the black and the white. When it hit the heavy water in here for Cherenkov radiation, we didn't even have to do that. We put ours through a Venturi. And when it did, it crushed the fields and spit out all that white particles, and then the black reattached out here. They will always reattach. They will always reattach unless you can get in between here and absorb that energy into something like a solar panel, that type of thing. So we were able to see the black, and the only reason we can see the black is because it's on top of the white. The black is all over here. There's tons of black over here. But the black is now on top of the white, so we can see it. It's all over here too. The only way you can see it is when it creeps in on top of the black, on top of the white. And then of course they all start to reattach right out here. Now watch this. Not only could we separate 100% of the white from the black with this tune of the Venturi, and Rod Warren did this, and he was also able to do this, tune out enough so that you could get the black separated and pushing the white ahead of it. All right, you see the difference? Coming through here, it looks like it's just white, but it's not. There's a bunch of black in with it. And the black is what pushes the white. The white won't go by itself, except for the fact that it was being slapped through the Venturi. The white has no, it's just energy, but it has to be pushed or bashed into with other energy. All right, do you follow what I'm saying? Coming down here, the light was just a wave at first. And it's accelerating now, and the particle, which is right here, is pulled itself out of its wave, just like a jet fighter. And here it's stacking up on itself, these little tiny particles, and they're starting to glow like crazy. And that's where the energy is being released. And here we have nothing but energy, just nothing. And the only reason it's squirting out this other side is because this is coming in like a paddle. Remember, there's a ton of black coming in here, and the black cannot get through here in this particular Venturi. It's just slapping, bam, bam, bam. This is a pulsed laser. Pew, 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 pew. The black is hitting the white. We know the black can push the white. So when it gets to the Venturi, it says squirt through there like a tube of toothpaste. You follow what I'm saying? If the Venturi is tuned correctly, and the fields have to come down and crush into themselves, and the black is just stacking up here like a paddle, boom, 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 squirt, just squirt, 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 and it's going to come out this other side. Now, how far will it come out? Well, we can see that's not very far. That's just about, I don't know, very, very close. This is very, very tight. So you'd have to get right in there and grab all that white energy as it came through there and hit it at the peak of its shower. Where you collect it at the peak of its shower, you got a lot of energy. And don't forget, The black, you don't want the black coming through. You want it like this. And then you want to collect it here. But just so that you know, we can prove the black paddles the white. These are pulses. Bam, 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 bam. And that white is just being pushed, pushed, pushed. This is, of course, the leading edge. Pushes like hell. So we know the black pushes the white, and if it's too tight, the black can't get through, and the white squirts right down. Because the white can get small, the black cannot. All right, as I showed you here, the white can get small. Or it can be big, like the black. It can be the same size as the black, or it can get small. When it gets small, it goes through the venturi. It has to be tuned right. You go right through the venturi as a squirt. Just squirt it right through and then collect it right there. That's what we should be doing. That could give us free energy. It really could. Okay, this is the Blue Ghost mission to the moon. They landed with 10 scientific instruments designed to analyze
the moon's surface and subsurface. One of the key experiments, LISTER, the Lunar Instrumentation for Subsurface Thermal Exploration with Rapidity, kind of sounds made up, is drilling into the regolith to
All right, first of all, what is regolith? Regolith means coating, crust, surface. So they're expecting a solid, or at least more solid, or at least another layer under this regolith. So let's go back a hair here.
Is drilling into the regolith to measure how heat moves through the lunar surface. This data is crucial for understanding the moon's internal structure and terrain stability.
Okay, they want to know the internal structure and about the terrain. Now, I either have shown you or will show you an area on the moon that suggests to me that we can make a determination of what those materials will be.
Knowledge for building permanent lunar bases. Another major instrument, LEXI, the Lunar Environmental Heliospheric X-ray Imager, is studying something even bigger than the moon itself. How Earth...
Well, then they're going to get into the magnetic fields. Well, watch.
Earth's magnetosphere interacts with solar wind, mapping the invisible force field that protects our planet from high-energy particles and helps us prepare for deep space exploration.
Well, I can show you pictures that are going to be hard to dismiss, that show the fields in space and then show what the moon structure is in layers. Now, this was taken from right here on Earth, from New Zealand, by Dylan Carpenter, who I can't get through to him anymore, so I don't think he wants to be involved, but he did send me a bunch of these pictures he took with his new cell phone, several years ago. And I was totally blown away. And then I tried to recontact with him, and it just never worked out. These are all dipoles. And look at that. Look what the hell is going on there. Look at that little white dot and then a big yikes. And then you got energy on top of the moon here. Now, either that is on top of the moon or it's between us and the moon. Anytime you see something bright, it means there's energy there. And look at this. And look at this. And look at that. It looks like a pyramid, and that looks like Atlantis or something. This is crazy stuff. And these are all fields that surround all spinning planets. The moon doesn't have a field. This is not the moon's field. This is the field that is in the atmosphere out there. And there is atmosphere. This is not a vacuum. Absolutely not. It's saturated with particles, first of all, and dust, and all kinds of everything you can think of. And then everything has its own magnetic field. As it bumps and scrubs through that stuff, it creates these vibrational waves, and they get less and less and less impactful as you get further and further out, so they spread out further. That's like basically a redshift of magnetism, basically. And the other thing you want to take into account is the redshift that they see in with the Webb telescope and all that, thinking things are such a distance away because there's no slowing down or speeding up light. That's just not true at all. And there is no homogeneous space, so you can't say, well, we know it's going to take a factor of 5 or something. No, there's no factors, because this could be 3 times as dense as this, and It's just, there's no way they can use that Webb telescope to determine any distances whatsoever. And this, I think, deserves a little examination. And that's just not the only one. Hold on a second. This one here, I think that's the Seven Sisters. You see it? I really don't know. Again, I didn't take these pictures, and I have no access to them. I'm not going to do them. I don't know what kind of phone he had. I don't know what kind of app. But I can tell you what, these are exactly what I expect. And this is a very strange dipole situation. There's the two black ones here and all the white ones on that side. Very, very strange. And that's the moon in the middle. And it looks like these are radiating onto the moon or something. You see that in the front there? I don't know what to think about some of these things. I really don't. I'm not trying to show something that and claim that I know everything about it, because I do not. But I do know this. This right here is a shot of the moon. What are you seeing? This is what they call a regolith. That, my friends, this is biological. I'm just going to tell you right up front, this is biological. And right underneath here, they're going to find phosphomembrane, a phospholipids, phosphates. And then below that, I'm not sure what they will find, but this is a tendinenthesis. It's a tendinenthesis. I don't care what anybody says. And that right there is the artery entry, and that is the vein. And the reason it has a little dot there is because that is a valve. Veins only let things go one direction and not the other. Arteries wide open, no valve. And this is, there was an attached cord pulled right off of there. And that's why you see it, follow this around. You see that? And all these little bumps all over the moon, they always say, oh, there's little craters. Well, I'm sure there's a lot of them, yes. But there's a lot of them that aren't craters, and they're just part of that particular type of a structure. And this is where it pulled off right here. These are all the little dots all over it, just like Mimas and Tetchus. And a lot of the moons have the same thing. They have a cord that snapped right off, just like that. And it left the center. Center usually has a little bit of an extra hardness to it. And then it has a layering all around it, and it just snaps off just like that. And that's a tendinenthesis. In us, you need a microscope to see that. And these are moons, and this is our moon too. All right, and that's where it snapped off. And you have to have blood and vein and artery going into every bit and piece in your whole body, and that's it right there. Now, this, and I understand with the chemistry they're going to find here. I'm pretty well understanding of what this is. Now, there were different types of tendinenthesis, and some of them were like stone under here, really hard stone, like iron almost. And those would be the Moki marbles. But then there was other ones that were like rope-style tendon that came down in big bundles, and I think that might be this. But it might also be the aponeurosis, because I'm seeing this. And the green here, I think that green might actually be where the bacteria was in the fluid-filled highway of this creature, whatever creature it came from. But we're looking at fleshy-ish stuff here. You see it? And then there's still a little bit of red blood running down this way, or dusting down that way or whatever. And this is the membrane that comes right underneath this layer. And membranes are just like that. You have a layer, then a layer, then a layer. And then below this layer, you have this blue layer. But in between this layer and the blue layer is the green. And the green, I believe, is from the fluid-filled highway. You see, you have it everywhere. It's over here. You got to look real close. There's green in that layer. And that is the valve, and that is the artery that serviced this tendon enthesis when it was in some kind of a gigantic, unbelievably gigantic creature. That's the only reason, that's the only thing where I know where tendon balls come from, tendon enthesis. And I do think this is probably an aponeurosis tendon where the strap came in like this and locked in. Other ones have straight up like bundles of cords coming out. This is a different style, but it's still the same thing. It still has a tendon that locked in and then a strap that ran back into some tissue. I mean, look at this. That is body tissue. That I can tell you right now, I know exactly what it is. This is going to be the same basic thing you find in clay. It's probably extremely dry, and then the very outer surfaces of this will be ionized quite a bit because it's been hit with radiation from the sun with no protection for I don't know how long. So there'll be ionized surface, and then once you get deep enough, you'll run into like clay mud, just like in the earth. And then below that, you're going to find that membrane, because this is a biological body part. It's what it is. Now, I have another shot of this that shows that is actually, well, let me show you. Okay, my outstanding friends, I'm going to cut right to the chase. Our moon is biological, and these layers, I will explain to you in a moment what they are, and these what they are. And we will be talking about tendon enthesis and moons that have the tendon enthesis torn off of them. I will explain this in extreme detail. We'll be talking about hip joints, which just happen to be floating around in space, broken off in a manner about like this, and that is right here, as a matter of fact. It's Comet 67P. They had a lander up here. It sampled a couple of little bits and pieces called Kenneth and Juliet, and they are biological 100%. It is a tendon enthesis. Not only that, it has a huge artery 500 feet across and a bunch of little blood vessels that service the tissue. What happens is when the sun hits it in exactly the correct alignment, it boils those gases right out of those, because they're nothing more than like cooking in a barbecue, irradiated barbecue. There's no flames because there's not enough oxygen, but the gases are shooting out, and the astronauts say space smells like steak because it's irradiated with it. It's just nothing but biology out there. Now this is 67P from a different angle. This goes back 10 years ago. I was studying this and trying to get a hold of NASA and everything. I said, you got biology here. And that is 500 feet across. And that is the artery shooting out the gases because the sun is hitting right in there. It's hitting here too, but this doesn't have the blood in it. You see all these little things going out of here? You see them all? One right after the other, all right, boom, 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 all the way around. They're shooting off gases because those are the tiny little blood vessels that surround that hip joint and have to feed blood into the tissue that is up in this area and around in here. Because every bit of tissue, every bit has to have blood in it. And it has to be serviced continuously, have more oxygen and nutrients. Now, that is just 67P, and the moon, I said, is nothing more than a tendon enthesis, like this. This is just the start. And then we have the sample brought back from Bennu, which is a phosphate layer muscle sarcomeres, another phosphate layer, more muscle sarcomeres. And this is what they look like. They're muscle from a heart, because Bennu is a heart. This is membrane, that's membrane, phosphates. Membranes are phospholipids. I just showed you what that looks like. Well, guess what this looks like? That's a heart attack victim here on Earth. And that's what the sarcomeres look like. And this is exactly what they brought back. This is a layer of phosphates. Phosphates. That is a layer of tissue, which is the clay layer that they found, and they're little pinchers. They pinch in. They're blocky little buggers. Now, what they brought back was exactly the same thing. Remember, phosphate, phosphate, sarcomere, sarcomere. They could just keep going in a row. There's a whole ton of them. And that's exactly what they found, only they got two layers. They got the phosphate layer, which is a membrane. They got the sarcomeres. They got another membrane. They got some more sarcomeres on top of that. And there it is, really close up, close. Those are little muscle fiber sarcomeres. Now that's on Bennu. Not only that, Bennu looks like this. It's a heart. These are the heart valves. And see this one down here? You got to look close. Take your time. You see this big round one down here? And that little bugger there, they have something there that attaches on that big block. And this here is probably a tube, but they have tubes coming out of them. And these are the valves. There's three big valves right together. And that's what this is a heart. And that's Bennu. They landed here and they just went deep inside. They didn't realize they were going to go so deep. It's basically covered with blood. And then they came back with this chunk of heart. That's heart. And they've been looking at it. They found every single thing their heart has in it. All the sarcomeres, they found sarcomeres, the membranes, they found amino acids, they found uracil, they found 16,000 molecules that are biological. They found every single thing. And the anatomy's here. Everything's here. Everything. You can't miss it. It's undeniable. So why do they have to study this for 1,000 years here just to, let's figure, what does it mean? We know this is the same thing here. We got gigantic body parts. I mean gigantic. Let me just show you something. Hold on.